humble each of us this evening, this room, everyone in this room. Humble us and enable us to receive wisdom and direction from you. Grant us repentance from the sin of self-confidence, thinking we can make sound decisions without seeking help from God. We fully acknowledge our need. Open our eyes to your good, acceptable, and perfect will. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman. With that, I will call the meeting to order and ask that you please rise. We have a special guest this evening, Girl Scout Troop 45703, who are going to help lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. Come on up. So who's going to take charge and start you all? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So does one of you want to come up to the microphone and tell us a little bit about your troop and what you're doing this evening? Come on up. We've got a volunteer. Wow. As in the country, not Ireland out here in the county. Okay. Very neat. Well, I told you guys the other day at Safeway that I'd already bought in so many cookies that my wife won't let me bring any home, but nobody mentioned that you were trying to raise money to go to Ireland. That gives me a whole nother reason. That puts it in a different bucket. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here tonight. Rose, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Corsi?
Here.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Here.
Councilmember McDaniel?
Here.
Councilmember Lindsay?
Here.
Councilmember Greenlee? Councilmember Wagner?
Here.
Councilmember Boger? Student Representative Bischoff?
Here.
Councilmembers Boger and Greenlee let us know that they would not be here this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent to excuse Councilmember Greenlee and Councilmember Boger.
Hearing no objection, so ordered. Are there any amendments to the agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none. Our first item of business on the agenda are for public comments. If there is anyone from the public that would like to comment to council. Marilyn, good evening.
I'm Marilyn Tyrrell and I live at 950 G Street. People who live in the nice little town of Washougal are living on a earthquake zone. And we may all get through that with never having experienced it, or we may have to suffer through it. I have taken disaster preparedness training, and the thing that I found most important about it was the effort that they make to create a community so that when something bad happens, people know where they should go and what they should be doing. East County is going, Fire and Rescue is going to have a class starting April 1st. It's going to be at the fire station up near I guess it's Fern Prairie. And the class size is limited. It's $30. And I'm hoping that somehow the city would be able to communicate this information so that we could start creating this. It's very easy to forget about it now, but it won't be when trouble hurts. Possible?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Anyone else that would like to address council? Good evening, Harvey.
Mayor, City Council. Name is Harvey Olson, 3903 R Street. Two council meetings ago, Mr. McGrady, representing the largest roundabout engineering firm in Washington State, presented a picture display of intersections without saying if traffic controls were located at any of them. He stated that these locations compared to Highway 14 at River Road and at 32nd Avenue, which currently have controls. The only comparison I heard was that all of the intersections have speed limits of 55 miles per hour. His comparison should have included numbers of vehicles, road and motor conditions, traffic controls, and all accident statistics, which are available from the WSDOT Collision Data Center. I have copied the report I obtained from Olympia, which has the statistics from January 1st, 2010 through December 31st, 2015, a full 6-year time frame. These could be helpful in your decision-making process and were handed out to all of you at your last meeting. Also, by comparing 2010 to 15 accidents to the 2005 through 9 accidents is worth noting. 05 to 09 had 27, 10 to 15 had 22. Of the 22, 6 were one vehicle, 4 were making left turns and went too fast and over the edge of the roadway, and 2 vehicles hit signs. No, the state of Maryland State Highway Administration has determined that the smallest inscribed circle diameter for a single lane roundabout is 105 feet on a state highway based on WD-50 design vehicle. I do not like roundabouts on 55 mile per hour state highways, but Mr. Rapp presented a compelling argument that the port needs a way for truck traffic to exit from 32nd to proceed west on Highway 14 without going on city streets, as is now the case. Of the several alternatives you are considering, one of which I proposed was an off-ramp at 27th with a barrier placed in the left turn lane 200 feet west of 32nd to 200 feet east of 32nd. No added width of Highway 14 would be required. This plan is a modification of the split diamond plan that's outlined in the 2005 Transportation Capital Facilities Plan. Also, the upcoming citizen survey should include a question similar to this, quote, should Washougal, if traffic conditions warrant it, build one or more roundabouts on Highway 14 within the city limits? It would be a disservice to the citizens to be excluded from providing their input on your decision concerning roundabouts. In conclusion, your decision will impact thousands of drivers in the upcoming years, so choosing what is best for Washougal will be very difficult. And then I put a little bit of maps there. All spelling and other errors in here are mine alone, and my sweetheart did not have time to do the editing and the corrections. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Harvey. Any other members of the public that would like to comment to council? Okay, moving to the consent agenda. Council, this evening, your consent agenda has 8 items on it. Your workshop minutes of February 8th, 2016, your council minutes of February 8th, 2016, your accounts payable checks totaling $170,700.45, your payroll checks totaling $179,442.60, Agenda Bill 11-16, setting a public hearing for the Washougal School District Capital Facilities Plan and School Impact Fees, Agenda Bill 12-16, setting a public hearing for the Camas School District Capital Facilities Plan and School Impact Fees, Agenda Bill 13-16, setting a public hearing for the City Parks Capital Facilities Plan, and Agenda Bill 14-16, setting a public hearing for the city's Transportation Capital Facilities Plan. Council?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as read. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
We've got a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. Any council questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Brings us to new business, Agenda Bill 15-16, an emergency utility assistance request. David?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Before you is a request through your Finance Committee to authorize the transfer of funds from the Utility Assistance Program to fund customer utility accounts as approved by the Finance Committee. Looks like there are 3 such requests that were reviewed and approved by your Finance Committee.
Mr. Mayor, I request you authorize the transfer of funds from the Utility Assistance Program Fund to the customer's utility account as approved by the Finance Committee.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to authorize the transfer of funds from the Utility Assistance Program to the customer's utility account as approved by the Finance Committee. Council discussion. David?
I'm going to have to go back on my promise not to raise this issue again, so I'll be brief. Has it occurred to anybody that we have one of these every single meeting? If you offer a free lunch, you're not going to be short of takers. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
You bet. Any other comments, questions? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to authorize the transfer of funds from the Utility Assistance Program Fund to the customer's utility account as approved by the Finance Committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No?
Motion carries. Thank you. And with that, it brings us back to the second opportunity for any members of the public that would like to address council.
Harvey Olson, 3903 R Street. I wish to thank, I think it's Rose responsible for these little mechanisms here. I don't have to bring my own hearing aids down, and I don't really need them, except in here, because half of you, Mr. Scott, the mayor, and a couple others speak so softly that even with the microphone you can't hear, especially with somebody with just a little bit of hearing problems. Thanks, Rose, very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Harvey. Marilyn, did you have something else?
I wanted to add a comment from Mr. Olson's remarks about the roundabout. One evening I was coming home, it was very dark and rainy as it usually is, and I went off the highway at first exit to the roundabout. That required me to go from 55 miles an hour to 15. 55 is the posted speed. Most people don't do that terrible slow speed, but anyway. So here I am at the roundabout, and I go down to 15, and I go around the roundabout, and I am over at front of Wesley, and I'm stopped by a police officer because I am going 35. It is not normal, natural is a better word, for anyone to be psychologically attuned to 55, to jump down to 15, and to make it work. And the idea that we would be beetling along 14 and hit a roundabout from our 55, that really makes me nervous. I wasn't trying to, had I been trying to race across in front of Wesley, it would have been one thing, but I was not trying to slow down, and I am worried when I read in a daily thing about the amount of drivers who are ticketed for traveling too close or rear-ending other cars. It's a dangerous situation. and for once I agree with Harvey.
Thank you, Marilyn. Anyone else that would like to address council? Okay. Under Mayor's report, I have just one item that I know of for you. I know a number of council members have received copies of the letters that Councilmember Wagner was getting in regards to Crown Road. And we've talked about Crown Road a number of times, and we actually have this Friday, we have a meeting put together between the City of Washougal, the City of Camas, and the county to actually sit down and start talking in earnest about Crown Road and who owns what, who's responsible for what, and see if we can start putting some tangible plans together. So we'll let you know what the outcome is of that meeting. With that, Caleb, any items?
I'm starting track this next week, so I will start being late to the city council workshop meetings, just a little bit late. So.
Not a worry. Michelle.
There's an upcoming Parks Board meeting, Wednesday the 2nd at 3:30, and I just want to welcome all the Girl Scouts here. It's so great that you're coming to see our government at its very basic level, and we're your representatives up here, and it's great for you guys to be coming to this. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I'd like to bring her as well, but thanks for coming.
Joyce.
Well, I'm impressed with all the badges you have. Again, thank you.
I'd also like to echo my colleagues' comments. It's wonderful to see all of you ladies. Just wonderful to be a part of you achieving this badge. Very proud of you. And I have one comment. We have a lodging tax meeting tomorrow evening at 4 o'clock here in council chambers. And that's all I have. Thanks.
David.
Hooray for the Scouts. Thanks for coming tonight and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I wonder sometimes how many young people know that, but you've shown me tonight that you know it, and that's good. That's great. I'd like to add to the comments or comment on the comments that tonight were made by the public. We don't often hear from the public, at least not often enough, and we value their comments. And Harvey, I would point out that those who speak softly on the council often carry a big stick. The other thing is, for the second time in 6 years on the council, Marilyn, I agree with you. Thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks. Dan?
Two things. I attended the Port of Camas-Washougal meeting last Tuesday, and two things for them. They were very happy that they're filling out their new buildings and getting tenants in there, and happy about that. It was interesting finding out who some of the tenants were. And the second thing, they are reviewing potential security system solutions due to recent thefts out there off of some of the boats and stuff. And so they've had a lot of people coming to the meetings recently asking that something be done, so they're reviewing a possible solution, which could be expensive or not expensive. And then the second thing, I talked to Liz Pike this weekend, and she's going to be offering an amendment this week in her House Transportation Committee meeting, budget meeting, hearing, to facilitate the transfer of transportation funds from the overpass project, Highway 14. So.
Hopefully that happened this afternoon.
Yeah, I think our legislative team was able to do that. I think she was successful already. I saw documents this afternoon for there was a hearing at the House Transportation Committee, and the document that lists all the projects now lists SR 14.
Good. Still has to make it through the entire supplemental budget process, but we understand from both sides of the House that it's included on both of them without any marks on it.
Right. It's not new funding, so anyway.
Great. Thank you. With that, I would entertain a motion for adjournment. We are adjourned. But before the girls can get away, can we get a group picture with everybody?